start a stream and run out of gloves straight away. Better go get another box. Seem to be running out of gloves a little quickly. Audio, yes. Have we got participants? No. Oh well. Less stress. Just get this thing fixed. Try to keep my hair out of it too. And it's Chris Brown is the winner of the first arrival. Congratulations, Chris Brown. Make sure they haven't messed up this SMC because they did put the drill hole a little close. Well, seems okay. I think I've probably got everybody while they're asleep. Yeah, need something to hold this board down. Oh, Chris, it is kind of deserted here. I really did get it when nobody was around. It's a huge contrast from the other day. Let's see what tweezers am I going to use? Not you. Not you. And we've got a Dave Davidson. Hello. Yeah, we'll use these expensive tweezers that are not even. I think I left it a bit late in the day and everybody in the United States and the UK are asleep or preparing to go to work. Hey Thomas. I'm just try to get this underfill out. At least I shouldn't make a complete train wreck of this one. Not like the board on Lewis's guest stream the other night. Did I just see that? That's not good. Hey Paul Lucas, that corner of the SMC is actually lifting up. At least I thought it was. Was it my imagination? Well, I'm not risking it. I'll use a different one. Hey Paulie Lewis, and Paul Lucas, Aaron, and Josh. Josh, this is a donor board. Oh gee, as if the first one wasn't bad enough, they've... Seriously? These guys got an obsession with destroying SMCs? Alright. Tyler, the ultrasonic cleaner I've got is actually just a generic 10-litre unit from eBay. I think I bought it for 220 Australian or something like that. It's really nothing dramatic. It's got a variable strength control on it, which I never use. I just set it to full. And it does have sweep and degas function, but I never use those either. It's truly generic and cheap. Hey, Tresden from Perth. Wouldn't mind going and visit the WA again one day. Last time I was really in Western Australia was when I was up at the Kimberley Diamond Mine and Ord River Dam project. I was only a young fella. And I just remember catching a heap of barramundi off the dam wall somewhere just on the inside of the WA border, WANT border. Damn, I can't even remember the place. My brain keeps telling me it wants to say Catherine, but I know Catherine's in Northern Territory. But yeah, that's age for you. You forget these things. And yeah, thank you, Aaron. Yes, donor boards get drilled. Hey, Christian Iverson. I see it was nice and warm in Florida today. Too warm for me. I don't like anything over about 80. Anyway, I'm just taking this SMC off because I need it to replace the one that I used the other this is another one of those. Yeah, that was stuck as well. Hopefully I didn't popcorn anything. Anyway, so I've got this board, which is actually a working board, and I pulled the SMC off it because I knew it was working, so I could test it on another board because I didn't have any other spares. That's the joy of doing things when you don't have enough spares, is you start cannibalizing your own equipment, which of course is really not a good thing to do, but sometimes you just feel compelled that you have to do it. Hey, Powder. It's really rarely in your best interest to do it, but like I said, sometimes the time squeezes on and you've let yourself down by not pre-ordering things well in advance when you know you probably should have, and so you sort of fall on your own sword. No, Ben, this is not yours. They were mine. You've got yours. But this is the one that I sacrificed for yours. Tyler, I will say that the Crest ones do perhaps have a wider window of operational capacity, whereas with the one that I'm using, you sort of have to massage it in the sense of you really need to preheat your boards before you put them in. They like you a lot more if you wash off as much of the flux as you can before you put it in, just with a bit of alcohol. So, whereas I suspect with the Crest, I mean, don't quote me on this because I've never owned one, but I suspect with the Crest you can just pretty much plonk it in and with the Branson EC, and you get you get a good outcome. Whereas with these ones you've got to work it a little more. Scrub this down. I'm trying to let these things cool down a little more before I hit them with the alcohol. I'm worrying that I might actually be causing the popcorning when I hit them too quickly, and it could be that maybe some of the alcohol gets in under the layers, All I know is that the failure rate from popcorning is too high, and I've got to do something about it. Ben, I presume that board I sent back actually does work. I mean, it booted, it ran CPU here and everything, so... yeah, I'm making lots of assumptions there. It was running fine before the SMC originally failed too. Yeah, it could be thermal stress from the rapid cooling, I just don't know. It's one of those things where if you've got enough donors you probably don't care, but if you're living on a limited number of donors, it could be something that's worth investigating. Alright, I need my SMC stencil. Oops. Hey, silver gold. Was I smart enough to remember to put my SMC stencil back in? Yes, I was. Now, I was looking at buying one of these desktop CNC things that I was talking about to make a nice SMC tool, stenciling tool. But unfortunately I just had to pay $1,800 to get the car fixed, so that's out the window. Now we've got to prepare some paste, since we know that this paste that I have is just a little too runny. That's to should clean up the mess from before. There might be a way for me to reconstitute all this, but I have my doubts. I'll do a good job of it. And then paste. Great, now I've lost the lid. So that means that, found the lid. I was about to get all dramatic about, now that I've lost the lid, everything's gonna go wrong. Okay. We'll get our paste baking temperature up. What's interesting is even though it's very fluid at this point, when it cools down it definitely thickens up after you've done the baking process like this. So it makes it quite hard to judge when you've boiled it off enough. It's almost like doing death pikelets or death pancakes. So like it's very runny there. But if I hit that again, which I'm going to because I'm stupid, when it cools back down, it's probably... I wonder if it's because the... yeah, I wonder if it's because what's happening is the solvent that holds all the flux, like the rosin and whatnot, or whatever it is that they're using, the solvent gets driven off Yeah, here we go. It's starting to thicken up now. Honestly, I really don't know. Yeah, Christian, it was the whole front end assembly had to be redone. I don't know what happened, but I blew the sill on the front passenger side for the damper, and I think it just sort of it created a cascade effect. So I've got to get a new steering rack, a new joints, new, just so many things new now. I used to fix my own cars, but that's a pretty big investment in tooling, particularly with modern cars, how you almost every damn thing has to have a special jig, or there's always one jig you need for the job. Okay, like right now, I could do with a jig here. It's pretty much like with these repairs. There's a whole bunch of stuff that makes your life so much easier, and without it, it's a flippin' nightmare. Hey David Hutchman, how's things over in Liverpool? Are you guys winning the football this year? I don't know. All I know is that Liverpool and football are somewhat synonymous. I've heard that the games go on for 1 billion hours. I don't know how this is going to go. That looks pretty damn wet to me, but we'll give it a whirl. My proper paste will probably arrive in about 6 months, I'd say. I don't know what. Maybe I'll drop the air right down. Hey Jeff from the Philippines, not too far away from Australia. Well, relatively speaking. I'm just doing a slow bake here. This is only 20 of air on the quick. I'm pretty much just experimenting to see if I can even get this new paste to work with the larger stencils like the SMC. It works beautifully fine with iPhone type chips, but the SMC stuff is quite large in comparison. It looks like we did alright with actually a lot less air. We've got one ball trying to take a leap. We'll let that drop back down. And we'll give it another shot. Yeah, even though that was slightly wet, that was more controllable. Hey Leonard O'Brien, nice to have someone from Ireland. I'm sure you probably get pretty sick of people saying that Irish and Scottish sound the same. I mean, I'm deaf as a brick, but it sure don't sound the same to me. But I sure hear a lot of people say it. It's a pretty respectable reball. We'll put some flux on that. Give it another reflow. Liverpool are the Champions League finals in 8 days. Very prestigious. But I support Manchester United. Ah, yes. Yes. I get all my football knowledge from IT Crowd. From Ross and Moy. Bloody hell. Roy and Moss. Ross and Moy. Talk about getting brain dyslexia there. Or is that actually classified as dysgraphia? Well, I wouldn't so much call this subpar paste. I mean, the paste itself is not too bad. Let's see. Alright, so it's this Chem Tools, I don't know if it's going to show up, Chem Tools CT leaded 6337 CTL 63, that's what it is. Anyway, like I said, it does a good job for iPhone repairs, but they just tend to behave a bit weird with massive quantities like this. So normally when you're stenciling on, say, a board that you're going to put parts on, your stencil is very thin. And so you don't get this sort of thick cake of paste. But with balls, you're laying it down quite thickly. Quite thick. And it's being constrained by the stencil itself. So it does have a bit of a strange behavior pattern, and that's why the iPhone ones work quite well, because the stencils for those are probably a third the thickness of these SMC ones, probably around about 0.1 mil, whereas these are got to be at least about 0.3. You notice I don't use Captain tape either to hold down the stencil. I just learned to do it freehand with a pair of tweezers. And it saves mucking around with the Captain tape, which almost always starts slipping and sliding anyway. Horacio, Uruguay, South America. Uruguay. I actually don't even know whereabouts Uruguay is. That's going to be one I need to check. I know the name, I just don't know the place. Just putting my stencil back in the wash. Actually, I need to put this back in the wash. So this is my wash. It's just a tub with the alcohol and all my stencils and the stencil holder. So it just keeps it all soft, stops it caking up and becoming difficult to get off. And then by the time you go back and use it, it's clean again. Okay, so we've got our SMC, got a board, let's put it together. Yuji Kung, yeah, it's definitely different. The scales are very different, and it's certainly enough to make your techniques have to change in order to deal with it. And I guess that's why you get a lot of people who will prefer MacBooks or prefer iPhones depending on their personal traits. I sure hope this works, because I do want my 3437 board back, because I do use them either as diagnostic boards for comparison, or I've got one machine that I've got dedicated for compiling a flex board view on. It's an old Yosemite machine, funnily enough. And I've had to do it because even though when I'm compiling and I say build for, say, 1010 and above, for whatever reason, unless I do it on a machine that just adjust this slightly, unless I do it on the minimum machine, it just doesn't seem to work properly. So there's probably something wrong with my CMake setup or whatever. All I know is that as long as I keep an older machine around to build on, then it works for all the future machines. Like I said, the code works, the binary works all the way up to Mojave. I don't know why I keep saying Mojave. SMCs really aren't that hard to do. It's more a case of they need their heat, and yeah, you really want to get your balling technique done. Okay, that's good. Hey Sonia, nice to see you. So the sheriff is in town. Well, I think they look pretty good. Hey, Blackwood Productions. Yeah. Seem to be lacking light here. I'm gonna turn on another light. Oh man, still another hour or so to go on that one. Let's see, will you be trying out the Mux bypass on 2011 boards? Don't have any 2011 boards at the moment, at least not working ones, because I tend to strip them for parts. The 2011 board, at least back when we weren't bothering to make them work again or anything, very good sources of, actually maybe I'll just put it straight into the screen. Very good sources of a lot of parts that a lot of other boards need. So yeah, around here they get sacrificed as donor boards, even if all they've got is the GPU failure. And then if I'm lucky and I'll get a 820-330 board, then I'll drop drop that board into one of the existing chassis, and then it's all good. You don't get too many of the 3330 boards around, or at least I don't. So I've got a few spare chassis lying around of the 2916, what am I saying, 2915 boards. Just waiting for the day that a 3330 turns up. I do have a couple of the little daughter boards that do the Mux modification without having to do all the wiring. But yeah, so I've destroyed my other ones, my 2915s, and I've generally not been inclined to recommend the Mux mod to people Most of the time because I feel like they're going to just complain about the lack of brightness control anyway. Let's see, I think I might try to tilt this up a bit and hopefully not catch too much of my gut. Okay. Alright, so this is a 3437 board, so I'm not going to be too concerned about having to use the proper MagSafe on it. So in this case I've only, I don't know. If you ever work on the 00165 boards, do yourself a favour, don't pull your hair out, just go and get a proper 85 watt MagSafe 2 genuine. Otherwise you will lose your mind. And speaking of which, I can't find my... Ah, there it is. Oh, Ben, shucks, mate. Shame. No, I'll tell you what, you send me another computer to fix and I'll do it again for you. How's that sound? Seems like a fair deal to me. Okay, what do we got? 16.5 volts, 5 amps. We'll do that. Fan spin. And it's doing the proper stop. Come on. Yes, it's doing the start again. We'll put the CPU stick in. Turn off that light. Let's see if we get a bit of blue blinky. We've got blue blinky. No deal. Man, you're a hard person to please. After everything I've done for you. Actually, I don't know what I've done for you. I probably haven't done anything for you. But it's more convenient to say that I have. Okay. Sometimes the Ubuntu takes a while to come up on screen. Okay, we've just flashed our screen over. It's got no brightness. Come on. Come on. I should have put the SSD one in. Let's turn off the overhead. There we go. Still going to take a while. No, it's not yours, Ben. It's not yours. Look, let me show you, Ben. Don't make me start feeling like you're the customer I had the other day. That was painful. I sent you your boards back. Look, these are all the ones I just got in. Your boards, one had a dead SMC on it, the other one was the one that you've got back now. Alright. Okay, so we're up and running. So it's good. And that pretty much is that. An SMC job that actually went according to plan. Instead of the train wrecks that I do when it's on Lewis's 820,000 video, whatever you might call it. Okay, you're down, you're out, you're off. Okay, I'll take this board out anyway. I'm not keeping it in here as a machine for the moment. This is my test setup. You think you're trolling? Yeah. Well, at least that's got it on stream now. Come on. I forget. There we go. Alright, so we've got another 3437 board that's working. I'll probably stick this in the ultrasonic cleaner. It's had a bit of a lot of work done on it. Yes. Good job. Alright then. Well, that's pretty much that. And I've got a customer coming back in about 10 minutes. And they're going to want their smashed up iPhone 10 data recovery done. It's a real disaster, but yeah. Let's see. What's the problem with the aftermarket child 3437? Let me just switch over this. There's no problem with the 3437. It's the 165 that's got the problem. If you use an aftermarket charger in on 165, it won't boot up. If you use a genuine MagSafe 1 and you put a genuine MagSafe 2 adapter on it, it also still won't work. It will show you pretty much all your voltages all through the rails and everything, but it just won't fire up. So yeah, if you ever come across a 165 board, you need the genuine article. That I think everybody gets trolled by that at least once in their career. Who lives? They've kept, but any particular reason for your Ubuntu? Tried it a bunch of times, but always end up using Debian again. It just works for me. I'm fine with it. I found maybe Debian, take your pick. I'm not going to argue over that. I mean, I'm a Slackware person from way back, but Ubuntu I just found just works. Consider it the macOS of Linux. With Debian, I found it was too much drama to sometimes bring in all the other repos so that you could get the non-free things and things like that. Whereas with Ubuntu, it's just like click, you're done, and away you go. So that's why I'm using Ubuntu. But yeah, I mean, I'm using Fluxbox on it rather than GNOME. I mean, what a mess they made of GNOME. Alright. Okay, well, I think we're done. So thank you all for dropping in. A short stream, I know. That's all I had to do, and I've got to get back to other things which aren't very interesting to video. But, well, next time the next job comes up, I'll see you then. Until then, take care.